Adam Smith, how are you?
Very good. Well, thank you very much indeed.
Welcome to this short podcast. Hope we can have you more, but you're busy with your panel. How is it going?
Very good indeed. Thank you. I'm delighted to be here and thank you for making time for me.
Thanks, man. Thanks. You worked in the Nobel Prize. Tell me more. I mean, it's such an amazing place, and to know all these winners and to speak to them.
Yeah, it is a privilege for sure. I work as Chief Scientific Officer at Nobel Prize Outreach, which is one of the outreach arms of the Nobel Foundation based in Stockholm. And yes, I meet the laureates in many different capacities. Partly I've, over the years, been building an archive of interview recordings with them. And also I travel with them around the world, especially to inspire the next generation of young thinkers. And that's the other privilege. So one is meeting the laureates, and the other is meeting all this marvelous talent all around the world. So many thousands of young people who are just eager to do exciting things.
Oh, that's amazing. When you say outreach, do you mean you're the first person who's gonna announce for them that they won the prize?
No. No, that job is given to the secretary or chairperson of the committee which decides the prize. In theory, I am the second person to speak to them because I try and record a very short interview with them as soon as they've heard the news. And sometimes that works, and I get them right after they've heard the news, just minutes after. Sometimes it's a little bit later, but I try and get them on the same day, and I try and get everybody. So during that first period of October, when people are hearing the news, yes, I'm speaking to them and finding out how they feel about it.
Wow.
And then sometimes it goes wrong, and just once in a while, I'm the person to break the news to them. But then it could equally be you, because at that point the whole world has heard the news. The only person who doesn't know is the laureate, and then all of the media are chasing them to try and track them down.
Exactly. Do you think they kind of know that they're gonna win the prize? Does they prepare them?
There's no preparation. No, there's no. Well, there should be no hints. It's all very secret, and so no. The answer is they don't know they're going to be awarded the prize. Of course, some of them have heard rumors from others that they have been nominated, or they just have done work that is so obviously important that people have said to them, surely this is going to get you a Nobel Prize. Expecting is too strong, but perhaps that somewhere in the back of their mind, there's the thought. However, sometimes it really is a complete surprise, and there was a lovely example of that this year, that the prize winners in medicine really weren't expecting to get the prize, and so much so that one of them, when they received the call from Stockholm in the middle of the night on their mobile, saw that it was a call from Stockholm and assumed therefore it must be spam, because why would Stockholm be calling me? Which really speaks volumes about the fact that she just was not expecting to receive it. So
I'll tell you that Donald Trump, he was expecting it.
Yes. And I think the whole world was rather switched on to seeing what would happen there, but it didn't go that way.
But tell me about the feeling that they have, and what will add to them after, it's the biggest prize ever. It's the biggest achievement ever. How do they feel? Like, is it the end goal, the top prize? What they're feeling?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's very much not the end goal. They all emphasize that's not why they've done the work. It's not what they were hoping to get. It's a lovely benefit. It comes with a lot of attention, and in some cases that attention isn't, let's say, 100% welcome. Of course it's nice to be recognized, and of course it's nice that everybody wants to talk to you, but it can be a bit of an interference, and so you have to be quite strong, I think, to stick to your the work, what you're really interested in doing, the work you're interested in doing, and not get too distracted by all the invitations that follow and all the requests for interviews and everything else. So a lot of them have sort of, I suppose that they're made to think deeply about what their priorities are, and sometimes it knocks them for some weeks or months that they find that they're just inundated and start saying yes too much, but then they quickly realign and say, no, actually I have to start refusing things because I want to get back to my work, whatever it is.
So the fame, what comes with the fame and the exposure that will be and
there is a lot of fame, but I think they in general take the responsibility of having an increased sort of ambassadorial role for knowledge and knowledge creation, and in many cases for science, of course, very seriously. They see that this is a new mantle they've taken on. They were already doing that job, of course. All of them have profiles and are talking to people all the time anyway. But this adds an extra dimension, and this is something that they, in the main, step up to. And and of course, again, it's important not to get carried away, because once you have a Nobel Prize, people will ask your opinion on everything. What brand of vacuum cleaner do you use? Is it? And you don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about what matters and what you know, and they take that seriously.
Yes, of course. What are it's a wide question. What are the criteria of winning a Nobel Prize, other, of course, than the achievements and in science and solving problems? What is the main criteria that Nobel Prize search for, other than the scientific discoveries and this?
Well,
we need to know, or we don't know about it.
Actually, in the science prizes, other than the scientific discoveries, there is and their impact, there is no other criteria. There are no other criteria. That is what the committees assess. You have it's not really possible to speak on behalf of the committees. All of this work is done by the 6 separate committees that decide the 6 separate prizes that get awarded each October. And they are the ones who really can answer the question of what they're looking for, because their discussions, as we know, are secret the discussions are completely secret. Even the reports that get written are secret for 50 years. So it's a process that goes on behind closed doors. But what they're searching for, and the criteria for each prize are slightly different. But basically, they're searching for work that has changed our understanding of the human condition, and has had an impact on society, on humanity in general. And that's a very broad definition. So within that, you can look for all sorts of things. But then if you narrow down and start saying, okay, let's look at the physiology or medicine prize, for instance, it tends to be work that has changed our understanding of the way that biology works. Some radical shift in thinking about the way we operate. And in physics, the same. That there's a physics worldview, some change in the perception of how the universe is organized. So it tends to be something to do with fundamental change in our thinking about ourselves.
Yes.
And our world.
Yes, this is what I expected, other than the technical and scientific achievements. It's like, how much is the impact on humanity in a positive way?
Yes, and sometimes that's very direct. So, for instance, the prize that was given for mRNA vaccines, everybody can see what that did. Sometimes it's not possible to say what the impact will be. In a prize in theoretical physics, it may be far away from application. And if you look back across the history of the prizes, often at the time there seemed to be no foreseeable application. But then if you pick up your mobile phone, there are many Nobel Prizes contained in that phone, work that at the time was done purely for interest's sake, but in the end turned out to be utterly essential for the applications we now rely on. And this points to something very important, which is that it's impossible to know what will be useful. And so we really want to know as much as we possibly can. And that's hard for everybody. It's hard for funders to know, because governments and people, they would like to fund the research that is going to most directly benefit society, but it's often very hard to know what that will be.
Exactly. And is there any coincidence that a prize was given and the achievement was found that it's not in the right direction, or has changed by time, or the technology is not?
Yeah, there have been occasional examples of things where something that seemed at the time to be right was wrong. I think one that's often quoted is, or rather, one that is often quoted, it was a prize given for frontal lobotomy. So the cutting of the connection between the two sides of the brain as a treatment for intractable depression, for instance, which now is something that nobody would advocate. At the time, it seemed they thought it was a good idea. So yes, there are one or two, but that, I suppose, is to be expected over a 125-year history.
Yes, exactly. One small, yeah.
One or two, yeah.
Yes, and is there a interference or pressure from politics in general on giving the prize?
No, the answer is no. There are. I don't really see how there could be for the prizes that are awarded in Sweden, which are awarded by these in the case of literature by the Swedish Academy, in the case of the sciences by these various committees, either at the Karolinska Institute or at the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. In the case of the Peace Prize, that is awarded by a committee of 5 people who are appointed by the Norwegian Parliament. So it is closer to politics. And so if you, in the makeup of the committee, you've already, I suppose, slightly seeded things. But they seem to be pretty immune to political interference.
Okay. As much as they can, of course, because I'm sure there will be some interference, but it's not maybe getting through.
Yeah, I would have thought that I would have thought that lobbying is counterproductive.
Okay,
but I don't know, because again, these are questions about how the prize gets awarded really have to go to the Nobel committees and the people who make the decision. The rest of us are just living with the results of what they decide.
Exactly. Tell me about your podcast, Adam. When did you decide to start a podcast?
That was back in 2014. So we've been doing it for 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a natural extension of the interviews with the laureates that I'd been doing since I started, and just a way of exploring their life, work, and motivations in more detail. A different platform. We still do the video interviews. We still do lots of on-stage things with laureates all around the world. But the podcast, this Nobel Prize Conversations podcast, where I just sit down, just as we are now, with a laureate and chew the fat, so to speak, has been going for a while. Yeah,
that's amazing. Thank you so much, Adam Smith. We took you for this short time. So thank you so much. What's your talk is going to be about today?
Well, we're talking about the role of ICT and digital infrastructure in helping promote research, development, and innovation. So the whole meeting keeps emphasizing the power of knowledge to help society, to help countries develop. And this will specifically look at how digital infrastructure can help the spread of knowledge and what is needed and what is missing.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Lovely speaking to you.
Same.